And that's another thing I'm taking away this weekend.
Yeah.
One thing I learned was make money so you can do something else to make money.
Yeah.
You're not just making money. Money is not the goal. It's a tool.
I surprised beauty entrepreneur Sam Rene with an amazing trip to Laguna Beach to join me in my Inner Circle Mastermind. Hi, Sam Rene.
Hi, Arlan.
How are you doing?
Wonderful. So happy to be here.
Yeah, so where is here?
Well, right now we are in Laguna Beach, California.
And
Fancy.
Have you been to Laguna before?
Never.
Yeah, this
So
is...
thank you for having me
Yeah,
and introducing me to this gorgeous beauty of a place.
It's so wonderful.
So beautiful.
I love coming here, and I love bringing incredible entrepreneurs and investors here because you can have, like we were having a mastermind, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but you can just have the ideas that come to you when you're talking to people, but also when you're just listening to the waves.
Yes.
And just like slowing down a little bit. I think that's what happens here. You
Yes.
slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to first talk about what we did for VIP Day, the experiential side of it. Because we're going to get into your company. So what we did was we had you fly in from Chicago.
Yes.
And then you spent 3 days with this group, in this mastermind, in my inner circle.
Yes.
And so people usually, they join my inner circle for a year, and we meet up 4 times a year. We talk all the time, and you can see why.
Right.
Right? So talk a little bit for people who aren't here to experience it. What was it like?
So firstly, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, because I feel if I wouldn't have been introduced to this, I would have been missing so much. As a founder, people don't realize it's so lonely.
Yes.
Right? Especially when you're starting off and you're trying to figure everything out. So when I was coming here, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I thought we'll be doing a lot of like mastermind, like activities or whatever.
Yeah.
But yesterday, when we sat down with you in a very intimate group of like 8 incredible people whom I did not know. I literally walked in and I was like, hey, I'm just here. And I'm not even,
they didn't know each other.
They didn't know, and they didn't even know that I'm not part of the mastermind, but they all were there. And after going through those first 4 hours, it was just so incredible. And one thing that really blew my mind was, Arlan, is people don't realize how fast your brain works. And I was just sitting there looking at it, because we had people from all different backgrounds, different businesses. Somebody's in service, somebody is in like a product service, etc. And you right away there and then had solution for them that made sense to me. And I was like so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for you to go back and implement this. And then later on, I don't think you know this, that we left the meeting after we were done, and we were supposed to like break off with whoever we like to go for lunch. All of us went together for lunch. All of us. We just met, and we're like grown women and men, so it's really hard to make friends at this age. But it was just so instant. We went for lunch, we went to shop. We even went shopping, which was so cute, and everybody was just so kind. And there we formed something that you don't know. And I will take the liberty on my group's behalf, because it wasn't my idea, but we came up with that, is we were all on a group chat, and we were texting, when to meet for dinner and whatever. And then we were like, okay, and I said to them, I was like, guys, I'm not part of the millionaire group. I will be now, I want to be the inner circle. But I said, how do I keep in touch with you guys? I really want to know that when you guys go, and I want to see all this happen for you. So we made a group chat, and we call ourselves the Arlaneers. Because we all are going to be millionaires. But because you are our coach, we look up to you I almost feel like an older sister. I don't know. She didn't allow me to say that, but I will say that. I really do look up to you like that. And we just call ourselves the Arlaneers, and I have a feeling it's going to catch on.
Well, I heard about that. I heard little rumors about this. And
Yes.
I absolutely love it. And I think one thing that we can take away quickly for everyone listening is in marketing and in kind of building a community, it is extremely important to have a name for the people in the community.
Yes.
That's why we have catalysts, that you are a venture catalyst. I'm wearing the shirt.
Yes.
I think that Arlaneers is a great name for anyone who aspires to be a millionaire working
Truly.
with us, right? Who's
Truly.
working. So and so it's very exciting, and I loved hearing that. And I didn't know y'all went to lunch because we had just so everybody knows, we had 2 groups
Yes.
of about 10 each, 8 to 10 each, and so there's a morning group and there was an afternoon group. So we split,
Yes.
and then we all met back for dinner. But you're saying that all of you all
We
were
all
like,
were together
we're
all
done.
day. We were figuring out each other's dresses. Like one of us didn't have a dress. We went and bought a dress for her.
Oh my goodness.
I wasn't happy. I was too hot in my dress. We went and bought a dress for
I
me.
love it.
And then I gave, like we all wore the same lipsticks. It was just so cute, and it just felt like it was making friends. So by the
Yeah.
time we all left today, we all were like hugging
Yes.
each other. Like, I can't wait to see you soon.
So the inner circle itself, for anybody who may, if we kind of film this separately and kind of have this on its own thing, what is the benefit, the biggest benefit do you think of being in my inner circle?
Oh my God, there's so many. I don't know which ones to say first. I think the first one is the support system, because I am in that place where I just need help, and I feel having people who are going through the same journey as you understand your growing pains, the help you need. There's no competition, because that's what I said yesterday to all the girls. I'm like, and obviously guys, I said that I just love how we are all just confident we're very confident in our skin and just happy for each other.
Yes.
And I want you to succeed, and I know you genuinely want me to succeed.
Absolutely.
And that's what it is. Like, why shouldn't we all be making millions?
That's it.
That's
the whole
it.
point.
That's
That's
it.
the whole point.
That's it. I know.
Earlier you said you were about to say something about lipstick.
Yes.
Is the lipstick you're wearing your lipstick?
Yes.
Okay, so I really want to jump in and make sure that we talk about your company.
Okay.
Because I want you to be able to ask questions. We did a great, back and forth in the mastermind. There's a lot that you learned, so maybe you can share some of that with the audience. But talk about, what is your company, and briefly, like, what is it?
So I founded Submarines Vanity. It is a luxury cosmetic line, and it was founded with a mission behind it, and the mission is to elevate the presence of South Asians in the beauty space.
Yes. And what types of SKUs do you have? What types of items do you sell?
So right now we have 10 SKUs, and I'll just quickly show them here.
Yes.
We have eyeliners, and our packaging is a very distinctive part of our brand. We have eyeliners, we have lipsticks, dual-ended lipsticks, and we have blushes.
Lipsticks, blushes, different ones. And I remember you said there are 2.7 million South Asian women in the U.S.?
There's 66 million women of color in the U.S., out of which there are 2.7 million South Asian women that reside in the U.S. Yeah.
And of course, your lipsticks and your blushes and your eyewear for everyone.
Yes, for
men,
everyone.
women, of all shades and everything. But
people of color.
I think, this is meant to be helpful, right? And I want to say to you that I think everybody should try to find their unfair advantage.
Okay.
Should try to find the thing that sets them apart, because there's so many eyewear lines, there's so many different makeup lines. You are one of the only ones that I know that is catering to South Asian women.
Yes.
It's for and by.
Right.
And if you remember FUBU, FUBU is for us, by us.
That's
what it means, right?
Oh, I love that.
Damon John said, for us, by us.
Yes.
So that is what you're doing.
Yes.
And again, it is meant to celebrate the cultures.
Yes.
And I say cultures with an S because it's not one monolith.
Not one, yes.
To celebrate the cultures. But it's so people can be invited in to participate too.
Absolutely.
But we're going to highlight South Asian women because that is what it was born from.
Absolutely.
Right? So what do you know about the industry as far as how they're marketing? So, for instance, if you don't mind telling the story, you don't have to say who it was, but the store that.
Yes.
Yeah, that story is really
interesting. I have two things really impacted my journey. One was I was a makeup artist in one of my past lives when I started off. And when I would be working on my customers or my clients, most of them were women of color of some sorts because they thought I can do good on them, right? Yeah. I would have to mix 3 foundations to come up with their skin tone. Or I still remember, to get the perfect red with the undertones, I would mix 2-3 red lipsticks.
Yes.
So that was one thing that I knew. I'm like, this is just such a pain, and she can't even go and do this on her own afterwards. My second thing was that I thought my mission or my drive is to be in corporate, but makeup. So I went to this one major retail store, and I lived in Buffalo, New York. So I just kind of stood out. It's not a very diverse place to be. And I went in there, and they have the floor job opening, very basic. You teach people or sell makeup, etc. Right? Basic, no rocket science. So in the span of a year and a half, they posted for that job position 7 times, and I applied for it 7 times, maybe more, because I would just go back and reapply, whatever. And I would walk in the store and take my portfolio, show it to the manager, because maybe my application got lost in the system. And I was like, look at this work I've done. Look at this work. I was like, just give me a chance. But I didn't even get a single interview, Arlan. And, I don't like to play the victim game, but I was kind of mad. And I felt really disrespected at that time, because I know I have it hard. I'm an immigrant.
Well, you're
woman
not,
of color.
You're not playing the victim card if you do go out and do something about it. Because what did you do?
So what I did was, the last day I remember, I looked around and I saw all the pictures and advertising, and I didn't see a single woman who looked like me. And I just remember that, it still gives me chills when I talk about that, because it's been a million years ago. I stood there and I was like, you know what, I'm going to make my own cosmetic line, and these guys are going to want to carry me one day. And I remember I went home and I Googled how to make makeup in America.
Yeah. She Googled how to make makeup in America. We're gonna.
That's how little I knew about it.
And one of the things I wanted to do is dial in on that. I don't want to just interview you, right? Because there's just so much interesting things. I want to understand, like, what do you feel is your biggest challenge right now? You can bring it from what we talked about yesterday, but what do you feel it is? And it could have changed in the 24 hours,
Right.
Yeah.
So at the moment, there's so many things I can share, because I feel if I knew those things, I could have saved so much time and money.
Yeah.
Because a UGC or a product is very hard to go by. Like we were talking about focus groups, which is one of the most important things you have to do with your service, your product, your idea, whatever it is, right? But to do it with a product, you have to have the product.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you know how hard it is to make a product. I mean, I don't even know where to start from. So that's the first separate thing.
Yeah.
But I think now that I have proved the concept, we have done our hard launch, we have worked out our kinks, our products are loved by the community, so it gave us the confidence that yes, we can go out to the mass market now. So as of right now, our challenge is marketing, because you need a lot of funds and we're self-funded. So our challenge is to get our products into people's hand, because we have 0.2% return rate, which is literally unheard of in the makeup industry.
So what you're saying, for anyone who doesn't know, is that of all the items that go out that are sold by you,
by me,
the tiniest percentage return it.
We've had 5 returns since we've been around. 5, but just for a different color exchange.
Incredible. Yeah.
So I'm very proud of that.
That's really incredible. And so the marketing, we talked a lot about that yesterday. You already, let's talk about you already are an influencer.
Yes.
So you understood, many people ask me, do I create the product or do I create the community first? What do I create? Community,
Arlan, because that time is gone when people will just go and spend $25 on a MAC lipstick. They still do, But I think the pandemic and everything has changed. People care how they spend their money. Like, everybody wants a purpose, and when they feel they're connected to you, the community part, they will back you up. Of course, you have to have a good product. I mean, that goes without saying. I'm not even saying that you can have a crappy product, but community will, from the beginning till the end, it's all about community.
Yeah.
I want like you're building.
Well, yes, that's I agree with you. Like, the community, if you can build a community, the product and service will follow.
Absolutely.
I want to do something impromptu right now.
Yes.
And I want to make this episode brought to you by The Juggernaut. And The Juggernaut is a wonderful publication that Backstage Capital, my venture fund, has invested in.
I love it. I follow them.
Yes.
And
tell people what it is.
So Juggernaut, from what I know as a viewer, so they cover all kinds of really incredible South Asian stories.
Yeah.
What we're doing, the good, the bad, the services, the incidents, everything. I find out, and they do very quality work.
Very
quality work.
Yes.
Like
I think it's a subscription membership.
It's yeah.
Yes.
And I'm a subscriber.
Wonderful. So we're gonna put their address across the screen. I didn't talk to them about this. I'm just thinking of it right now. I really want to do that because when you're talking about like marketing, one of the things is, like with you and with other people who are watching, like there's like, I don't know where to start, or like I don't have the money, or I have the money, but it's, you know, how do I know it's going to work and all this? Because paid ads is a definite way.
Yes.
But before you do paid ads, or like while you're doing paid ads, that content marketing is so interesting, and the partnerships.
Right.
So like if you and Juggernaut, and I'm not going to speak for them, but you know, like if you and Juggernaut were to partner, for instance, like on something, and you're bringing them new readers because of your audience as an influencer to the people, the very people they want to read.
Absolutely.
And then they're bringing people in to look at your beauty products.
It's a win-win. People don't understand. You have collaboration over competition. I say it all the time. I talk about other beauty brands on my platform. Because, you know, if somebody's doing something well, I want to learn from you. We're not in a competition. I will make something different from my ideas, and you can make a different lipstick. I will make a different lipstick. I love your lipstick, and you can also enjoy my lipstick. And you know, people, there's so much space out there. There's so much opportunity, the white space. So I'll tell you something. This one retail store just rejected us. One time it was for our branding because it's very colorful. But that's just how culture is. We are all about celebration, and I love it. The second thing was they said that this is no white space for this. The people aren't asking for this. And I'm telling you, I'm the people.
And we're asking for it.
We're asking for it. You're not listening.
That's just a lot of people who are sort of set in their ways, and many people who like do buying for stores or do that, they are in a box. And if they get out that box, they may lose their job if it doesn't go well.
Absolutely.
So it's the same thing with investors. Like when I talk to institutional investors who have all the money in the world, and they could easily take a risk on a small amount into backstage. But you realize it's because if they were wrong about this bet, they feel like they will lose what they have. And so there's not a lot of risk takers there. So anybody who tells you, oh, the boxes are too colorful or this, it's a way of, let me just find an excuse to say no.
I'll tell you something I tell myself all the time, because you have to grow thick skin. Rejection is going to be your new best friend. That's just it, right? And you have to keep it with you. You can't get rid of it because it's going to be with you for the rest of your life. There's one thing I always tell myself when a rejection comes my way. I'm like, it's not me, it's just that one person who took the decision didn't like it and said no.
Let me see your products here. Talk to me a little bit about what you're thinking as far as like when you put this together, because I did skip the part where you Googled how to do it all the way to here, because I just wanted people to know where you are right now. But like, let's go back. You Google how to make a product.
Yes, I had to Google how to make a product.
What was the first product that you used?
I'm pulling it out right now.
This one.
The eyeliner. That's my latest one. I'm very proud of her. She looks very pretty. That's just South Asian bride. I just wanted her on there, like, you know, with her makeup and her look. So the first product that I came out were dual-ended eyeliners. And the reason I did dual-ended eyeliners was because my purpose was like, how is my product going to be different? I'm not reinventing the wheel. There are a million eyeliners out there, right? So I am going to make a good product because it's made in Europe. We worked on the quality, we worked on the formulation. But what's going to be different about my product? And that takes me back to, there's so many things, right? So I came to the country as an immigrant, as a student. I used to have $500 for the month for my rent, my groceries, my bus ride, and just to live, basically, right? So I would stay hungry all day at school so I can come home and eat the sandwich because I don't want to spend the $10 at Subway. That's where I started off from, and I've not forgotten that. So I remember I couldn't afford makeup. So when I was making the eyeliner, I'm like, how can I make it like multi-purpose or give them more value for the money? So of course, one side, it's an eyeliner, right? One of the best liners, like it's smudge-free, waterproof, all the good stuff, right? And then the other side, I incorporated a tool. So you don't need a brush, an eye brush, to buff it out. So so that's the idea is, a buff or a brush would be like $20 for you if you go out and buy it, maybe 25.
Yeah.
I put that in in a $20 pen.
Oh, I love that.
Right? So you can use it as an eyeliner, or you can like create a smoky eye with it, or like do multiple things. I wear it as an eyeshadow sometimes. Right?
Yeah, I see. So because this is an episode to just kind of give advice too.
Yes.
When I see that, can I see that picture?
Sure.
I feel like what you just described
Yeah.
is it's like it's a surprise in that box because you don't necessarily know you're going to get that.
Every time I show my product to somebody, they're like, "Oh!"
I think it's because, and I think we touched on this a little bit yesterday, and this is again meant to be helpful. Is that the box doesn't elevate to what the product is.
Yes, and yesterday I was with the group of everyone, and I said, "Okay, guys, what do you think?" Because you see, this packaging, I couldn't afford a packaging company.
Yes.
So I called so many people. I was like, I can't do it. So I want to make it myself. So everything is me.
So what do you mean when you say everything?
Like I made a sketch of what I wanted to be on the box.
Yes.
And I hired a designer, like an artist, on Upwork.
Yes.
Where everybody goes who are like me, who just need it done. And I gave her the vision, and they designed it for me.
And then how'd you get it printed?
So then I found a packaging company in China because I wanted the most elevated box. So in terms of like everything for what I could afford or my vision at that time, my first product, I'm very proud of it.
Yes, because you should be very proud of it.
Yeah.
I think it's elevation.
It's elevation because
even
I wanted to be better today. So I'm like, what do you think about this now?
And then, how many units of everything have you sold? How many thousands of units have you sold?
So we did a soft launch with our community only. We don't have a budget for marketing, so we just went through a community and word of mouth.
Yeah.
So far, without having any returns, we've sold over 3,000 units.
So the reason I asked that is 3,000 units doing like a Google search of how do I make makeup?
Yes.
Taking that, designing the product.
My own money.
All of that, right? Because you didn't get outside funding.
No.
And then you, step by step, and you didn't have it wasn't like you had all this money to throw.
No, I didn't even have a founder friend. I didn't know anybody who was a founder.
And did you do a friends and family round?
Not yet. We haven't. We're still self-funded.
Okay, amazing. And then for that, you got to 3,000. And see, I want people to understand the journey.
Yes.
The journey.
The journey is,
it's super important that limitations don't hold people back.
Yes.
Because what you could have done is said, let me Google how to do this. And then it says, okay, you need this, and you need this, and you need this. And you said, oh, I can't do it. I don't have any money. Nobody will invest in me.
Exactly.
And then you would have stopped. Because you know what? Most people do that.
I will and I wasted so much money and time, Arlan. Just one little example I want to tell people because how not to be discouraged.
Yeah.
When I started making it, and I was obviously 6 months in, I was like, okay, I need to get a packaging from China.
Yeah.
Because I wanted this in mind. So I was looking for like packaging people in China. And then I find formulation.
Yeah.
I spent 6 months calling labs saying I have this packaging. It wasn't this, but it was something like this, which I spent I remember $3,000 because shipping is hard and all that time, right? I spent 6 months calling so many labs in the US and Europe asking, oh, I have this, I want eyeliner. So basic. Like I didn't have the verbiage, I didn't have the, anything down. After 6 months, talking to hundreds of people, there was this one person who told me one day on the phone, he said, dear, I just want you to know that for makeup, you make the formula first, and then you go and buy the packaging because the packaging has to be able to hold the formula.
Yes.
I was doing it reverse.
Yes.
Now just imagine how discouraged and sad I felt at that time because I limited budget, just sitting in my basement, doing this for 8 months at that point.
Yeah.
And I found that one thing.
And no one had told you. And there are several people watching or listening to this right now, whether it's a day from now or a year from now, and they're hearing that, and they're saying, I'm sad that happened to you, but I'm so grateful that it happened because now I know in advance, and it's going to help so many people.
Absolutely. People think like I just am a wizard and I knew what to do. Yeah, I can talk, I can do all this, but I didn't know how to make makeup.
Yeah.
I can do makeup, but that's the difference. So you have to be, and now I'm 3 years in since the soft launch, and last year in Q4, I feel I'm confident enough to take my product to the mass market where I'm like, this is my product. I'm very proud. I worked out the kinks. We just upgraded our website. We just spent a fortune of money on our products.
Yeah.
I bootstrapped everything before. Like my friends and I literally took pictures
Yes.
and I put it on my website. And I was very proud of it too.
Yeah.
Always be proud of your work. It's a journey, right?
What's the big break for you, and does it involve, well, let me say it a different way. If you had to guess how many South Asian women in America know your product, if you just had to guess, how many
If I had to
people?
guess, maybe like 1,000.
Okay, so what would happen if this year 100,000 of them knew about
Yeah.
your product?
Yes.
What would that do to affect your company?
Well, they'll do multiple things. Other than making a successful company, we also want to create an impact.
Yeah.
And I feel like in my community, I want to go hand in hand. I want them to see me as a 40-year-old woman, a mom, you know, a 10-year-old son, and I'm able to do this. So yes, I want this company to take off. I want to get your product out in people's hands because our retention rate is 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But what, I really want to dial in on it.
Okay.
If 100,000 South Asian women in the U.S. knew about your product, what would that look like?
That would look like scaling the company.
I'm saying what would it affect? Like what would it do to your company?
Oh, it would just give us the capital we need right now to go on and grow and reach out to more people and build our community.
I mean, 100,000 South Asian women being the most your target audience.
Target audience.
Knowing that you have 1,000 that know
Yes.
you, and you've sold 3,000. So what
3,000.
that tells me is that 300,000
300,000
units would be sold.
Or 3 million, right?
Because they would tell everybody else.
when people buy an eyeliner of mine, they buy 3 at a time.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because eyeliner is something women apply all the time. When we put our lipstick sales, I'm not kidding, people buy 2 of the same, or they'll get all colors.
That's
know?
another thing, talking to the people who are thinking about starting a CPG company. How important is it to get a product, to have a product that is used more than once
Yeah.
and just sort of discarded?
So there are multiple ways to look at it. One way is that I want to get a product. I want you to give me a chance with something that you use all the time. You know if it's good or not right away. If it's good, you're like, aha, I've been waiting for this, right? And then there's like blushes and shimmers. There's so many ways, right? So I feel one thing is that I want to solve a problem there. And secondly, obviously as a business, you want to have products that people keep coming back to. That means we build a relationship, we have a connection, and I am going to be part of your life every day.
I wonder, too, with the 3,000, do you know the total revenue you've brought in?
So far,
Lifetime. Yeah.
lifetime, yeah, we're a little over 60,000.
60,000. I wonder if a crowdfund would be interesting for you. And again, not just any crowdfund, but a crowdfund that is aimed for South Asian people having a piece of this company. Have you thought about it?
I have thought about it, and I think you and I talked about this last year, March, when we met, and that's one thing you had recommended to me.
Yeah, I just wonder, because it's...
I'll tell you how it doesn't work. So I looked into it. I did a very deep dive.
Yes.
And the reason crowdfund wouldn't work for us right now is because we're small and people don't know about us. People need to have that trust. When you're backed up, I feel like it's one of those things, right? What came first? The egg or the chicken?
Yeah, I'm going to push back on that.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most, there are a lot of people who do crowdfunding. I'm a crowdfunding expert. I can call myself that for sure. I was the very first Black person to raise $5 million on a crowdfund.
Oh my God.
In March of 2021.
Yeah.
And it was our fund and it was for everything, but it's true.
Of course.
And I've also helped a lot of companies raise.
Okay.
And most times, yes, you obviously have to have some community, but you can also leverage the platform. They are incentivized to put you in front of a lot of people.
Right.
And in that way, it's a lot like a marketplace, right? They want you to see, so they'll blast you in their email to all of their people. But what really moved the needle on my crowdfund, our crowdfund for Backstage Capital, Backstage Umbrella, was that we got some earned media too, and it's about the story.
Yeah.
So you can use the crowdfund as a really great excuse to get media about what you're doing and have it kind of concentrated on that.
Okay.
And of course, I'd be happy to help promote it. And I even think that there's a way to do it on kind of something that Backstage is doing with small businesses.
Right.
And so the second part of it is that it doesn't have to be $1 million raise. It can be $100,000 raise, because that's actually it's like 104,000 is like the cutoff point where you don't have to get an audit.
Okay.
So you can get just a kind of a CPA looks at it and says, yes, they're really a business, yes, and it's good, right? And you can say, I'm raising $100,000, and you can get maybe 300 people who buy that.
Wow.
I think that would work, right? And then you can always later do a larger one.
Right.
But I think that would work. It would bring in some needed capital.
Yes.
And then it also bring attention to what you're doing.
And community.
And community, right.
And community.
And then what you have is like not just South Asian women, but so many people are like, oh, I want to own a piece of this company because I get you. You don't have to wait for some big investor to come in. You don't have to wait for some big store to get you.
Right.
I get you. I want to get you. I want to be your customer, and I want to own a piece of this company.
Right.
And that's what crowdfunding does.
Okay.
And I don't recommend it to everybody.
Right.
I
Okay.
recommend it only on a very specific basis.
Okay.
Based on what I think can happen.
Okay.
And because going back to the unfair advantage we talked about earlier, because I believe you have an unfair advantage in the intersections of what you do and the way that you have made it to this point so far, I think that it's something that I would want to put energy behind.
Okay.
To help you do.
Thank you.
Yes, and people ask me like, what do you look for in a founder, and you know, how do I get investing? I look for someone who has done so much with so little, and has gotten themselves to this point.
Okay.
And that's what you represent.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
But it's true.
It's very. Sometimes it's just hard to hear. Like you just always discount yourself so much because you're like, I have to do better. I have to do better.
Yeah.
I have to do better.
I mean, I hear that sometimes when you talk about your company or yourself.
Yeah.
That's you're sort of putting yourself down, and it's you have done so much. I got my team here. She has done so much, right? Like we can do it audibly. You can say yes.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Angel.
It's true.
I'm a makeup wearer.
Yeah.
Almost every day of my life.
Yeah.
And I know good makeup and bad makeup. And immediately when I saw your lips, I was like, oh, it looks creamy. And like I'm just in my mind like,
I'll hook you up. I got you, girl. I got
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that you have. And what do you think you'll take away from this weekend? Like, what are you going to go back and immediately start working on?
Oh my God, so much. I just feel like there's so many things. Firstly, the first thing I'm going to do is the whole community aspect of it. I'm going to be really supercharged on that part. My second thing is I'm going to start working on my packaging because that was something like you guys told me right away. I'm like, okay guys, I see it, I know it. That's one thing I need to change. And I just feel like I'm going to start pushing my efforts towards marketing or however building my community, getting the story out.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been doing constantly. But you know, like we are always judging ourselves, and to get a validation from you, Angel, the girls on the weekend, like my heart is just so full.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're just like, my battery is done, like good, I'm good. I'm fueled up.
Yeah.
I can do this now,
Yeah.
and then I'll come see you again.
And I have to tell you, you don't have to be in our inner circle to get that feeling. You don't have to be like working with me one-on-one to get that feeling. You can go out and get your team,
Yes.
get your crew together.
One thing I want to tell
Yeah.
people is that I didn't know this, and I learned this when I connected with you. It was a very organic journey with you, right?
Yeah.
She didn't know me or like me, but
I didn't like me. I didn't
She
know
didn't know
you.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I went to Puerto Rico, and I was, so I remember that Puerto Rico had this big conference.
Yeah.
I could barely afford it. Like when
Yeah.
you're self-funded to fly to Puerto Rico, stay, you know, all that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think I'm just done being alone. I need to find my people, right? And it was Rachel Rogers,
Yes.
ROI. I went there. I didn't know about you till then.
Yes.
Because you're like in a different field, so I wasn't even, right?
Exactly.
So when I was there, and I heard at least over like 20, 25 speakers
Yes.
that weekend of 2 days,
Yeah.
and they all were wonderful. I'm
Yeah.
not taking away.
Yeah.
Everybody gets something different.
Yes.
But what I saw in the end was, and when I really connected with you was because you weren't talking about yourself. You weren't. You
Yeah.
were only person who wasn't talking about the millions and dollars you've made and the private jets you fly and look at me and be a millionaire. You genuinely were just talking about your journey and you know how you came to where you are, so humble, and that is what motivates me. I love the journey I know that you're sitting there speaking. People have flown in from the world to hear you speak, so
Yeah.
you don't need that validation. But as sitting there, I was like, you're just so much more than you appear to be. And then I flew to LA to see you.
Yes.
Then I flew to New York to see
That's
you.
right.
I
We've done
did.
a lot together.
I've been stalking her, guys.
And speaking of that, because you did this very naturally, I didn't
Nope.
know you're going to. Your first million live is days away.
Yes.
When you think back to the decision you made to go to Rachel's event,
Yes.
even though it was going to cost you to get there and all
yes.
that, the ROI of that, the return on investment of that, of being in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there are a lot of people watching and listening who they hear it, but they don't know that that's for them.
Exactly.
Your first million live is my event that's coming up,
Yes.
and Rachel will speak there, and that's a really cool
Yeah.
kind of full circle moment. Why is it important for someone who may not have? I don't want anybody who can't afford it to come to it. 'Cause
Right.
I never want to push that.
Right.
But somebody who can afford it, but it's like a little bit of like, do I spend it on this?
Yes.
Why is it important to do that?
So actually, I was talking to the girls about this earlier today, other founder friends, and I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm not in a position right now because every dollar out is something I can put in my business
Yes,
every time.
100.
But if I'm not elevated, if I'm not motivated, if I'm not growing, my business is not growing.
Say it. That's it. That's so true.
So, but it's so true. It's genuinely, I'm telling you, like, it's just one of those things, like, I want to be there, or anybody who can make it happen. I genuinely am telling you, I'm like you, where it is a huge cost for me right now. Every money I spend, especially if I get an investor, I have to explain every dollar, right?
yeah.
But I want to be in that room for networking. You were never big enough to not. Do you still network?
I network every day.
Right?
Are you kidding?
Like, you know what I mean?
Every day.
Every day, and I don't discount anybody. I could meet somebody in the crowd. I could meet
Yeah.
somebody standing in the line,
Yes.
or a speaker.
Yes.
So connections, motivation, to have that fire in you, hear people's story, and be like, "Hey, she was just like me, and now she's sitting there, and I have paid these hundreds or thousands or whatever money to see her.
Yeah.
I want to be there." Right? Inspiration is big. I cannot like say enough that anybody who can do it, you should be in that room.
Yeah. My friend and a person I've invested in, Dawn Dixon, she said, before I was on the stages, I was in the seats.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
And it's true. I was
true.
at every conference I can get myself in the room of.
Yes.
Because I needed to be there. And if you take what we just did with 20 people
Yes.
and you multiply that by 100 times
Yes.
at your first million live at the Peacock Theater,
Absolutely.
even you going off, maybe a conversation you had at lunch is even more important than the mastermind.
Absolutely.
Right?
Which we did.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
talked about the packaging. Like, after we
Yes.
left, everybody sitting there, we were 8 of us, all 8 of us, that just makes my heart so full.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to give their input on my packaging.
Because they want to see you win.
They don't have to care.
They want to see you win.
They're like, how about you try this color? How about you do this?
Yeah.
How about you do this with your font? I was just like, my heart is just so full. I
Yes,
can't tell
yes.
you. Like, it's
Well,
just been incredible.
I'm so appreciative of you for coming out here, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited to see you in April. I'm mostly excited to see what you do next, like tomorrow, like what you do, because I know you're going to take it far. Let's do the crowdfunding. Anybody who's watching, in the next few weeks, we're going to set up a crowdfunding, as long as you say yes to it.
Absolutely.
And we're going to give everybody a chance. You don't have to be a fancy investor. You don't have to be anything. If it's for most people, depending on where you live and your age and all of that, you can invest like $100 plus, essentially.
That's what people don't understand. Is
What's
like that we think that, and that's another thing I'm taking away this weekend.
Yeah.
One thing I learned was make money so you can do something else to make money.
Yeah.
You're not just making money. Money is not the goal. It's a tool. And that's what I learned. That's my line, just so you know.
Put that at the hook, bro.
No, really, money is, and I learned it this weekend. I think it was the aha moment last night at dinner. I was sitting with people talking, and some of the investors were sitting with me, just so kind and sharing their knowledge. And I was like, you know what? I never thought like this. That money is not my goal. Money is a tool to do things that I want to do. And I want so many things. I want to be an investor. I want to invest in South Asian women. And I want to do it one day. And I'm just manifesting it.
This is why, one more takeaway for everybody. This is why it's so important when you're selling to your audience that you do price yourself correctly. You price your product or service correctly and
Yes.
not lowball it. Because what most people do is they start a company and they say, I want to give back. I want to make impact. Therefore, I'm going to sell this for as cheaply as I can. Then they never get enough money to actually become the person who can make impact.
I can't tell you how much we discount ourselves.
Yes.
I asked you about the pricing yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I was like, Arlan, do you think I should be lowering my price? People are telling me this because they're like, your audience is price sensitive. But my product is worth it.
Fabulous.
But my product is worth it.
Your product is worth it.
You're worth my product.
Not only is your product worth it, your customers are worth it.
That's what I'm saying. You're worth it.
Yeah.
So you are worth spending the $25 on a dual-ended lipstick. Yes, it's made by an immigrant brown woman, but that doesn't devalue the brand.
There's no even but to that.
Right?
It is made by a immigrant brown woman, so you're welcome.
Yeah. Like you said, for you, by you.
For you, by you. Shout out to Damon John.
John. Yeah.
Well, anything else that you want anybody to take away from this? How do they find? We're going to put things up on the page, but how do they find you if they're only listening?
Well, I am very active on my social media. I write back to people. If you have a question, reach out to me. If you want advice, reach out to me. Even if you don't buy my product, let's be friends.
What's the website for Sam Rene's Vanity?
SamRenesVanity.com.
How you spell it?
SamReensVanity.com.
And then your social handle?
Sam Rene's Vanity.
At Sam Rene's Vanity.
At Sam Rene's Vanity.
Instagram.
And if you want to follow me personally and talk to me personally, Sam Rene Arshad.
Yeah. And it's linked off of there, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. This is going to help a lot of people.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.